Sanders and Faloney. This is our third episode here of Donovan Faloney, along with my co-host here, Andrew Cooper. We just came off of week 0, 5 games. Andrew, any thoughts on those 5 games last week?
Yeah, Nebraska was a total letdown.
Nebraska was a total letdown. I don't know what's going on there. I think we were on the wrong end of the stick on that one. That actually goes into my first question for you. Do you think Scott Frost is on the hot seat?
Oh, absolutely. He's like I said, if he doesn't win at least 8 games this year, he's gone. They might not even wait that long.
I'm surprised they didn't fire him right away, to be honest with you. He's now, I think in the last 2 years, he is 1-9 in games that are less than 8 points. So I don't know why he's there. I don't know why he's getting so much leeway. Maybe because he's alumni of the program, but it's just not working out for them. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just surprised that they had them, or that he's still on the coaching staff there. 2 other quick things I want to touch on before we get into games. We do have a busy slate this upcoming week for week 1. What about Vanderbilt here? Is Mike Wright, has he entered the Heisman conversation? He had over 140 or 150 yards rushing and then about 160, 170 yards passing before they took him out. Quarterback for Vanderbilt.
No.
No? Do they have a chance to win it all in the SEC?
No.
See, I'll be different there. I think I'm changing my mind on Vanderbilt. I think they might get 2 or 3 wins this year on teams that aren't expecting them to be as good as they are. That defense looks solid. Mike Wright looks pretty decent right now. I know it was Hawaii, but they look pretty decent. Might be a toss up there.
I'm gonna go 5-7 on the year. They'll win 5 games.
Yeah, but the question though is, can they win in the SEC? That's the question. And then my last question.
I have a feeling. I mean, I do got a feeling they might screw somebody's season up. That's I don't know.
Play spoiler.
Who I don't know.
Right.
But they will spoil one dream. I will say that.
I agree. I think their program's headed in the right direction finally. Another program that looks to be heading in the right direction gave me a big surprise, but with Jim Mora as the head coach, I'm not surprised anymore. Uconn, with a freshman quarterback, a bunch of walk-ons and transfer students. Do you think Uconn can win a couple games this year? Are they no longer the worst team in the FBS?
Well, the quarterback tore his ACL. The freshman quarterback.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it came across the screen today on ESPN. I don't know who their backup is, but I would say
that kid's good.
Yeah. What was the stat line last week? They haven't won more than 3 games since like 2015.
Yeah, they've been the laughing stock of college football. They're independent, but I wouldn't be surprised if they join the American, especially with their new head coach. If that freshman plays like he did and gets better, that kid's gonna be good.
I'll give him 4 or 5 wins. 4 or 5 wins this year.
I
think they'll break the peak.
That'll be huge if they can get that. I'm just wondering if they can reach a bowl game in the next 3 years, and I would say yes if they can keep the progress going.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The way they played the other night against Utah State, man, that's pretty impressive.
Amazing. Yeah, I was not expecting that. So to kind of recap last week as well, I didn't take any of the spread picks into account because I talked about the points, but I didn't really give any spread picks. So throughout this season, I'll be giving 3 to 5 spread picks, whether it's over-unders or plus or minuses, in addition to my picks as well, but I'll count those separate. The record right now is 4-1 for me and 3-2 for you. Nebraska both lost for us. And then I picked Nevada over New Mexico State. You wanted to upset there, and it was close for a little bit, but I think Nevada took care of business at the end. So pretty good start for week 0, to be honest with you. Wasn't expecting that decent of a record from me. And looking at the slate here for the 10 games that we have, I'm scared, man. I'm very, very, very scared.
Yeah, so without a doubt.
We'll go ahead and get that started. We do have 10 games to cover. The first game is going to be Central Michigan University at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is favored by 21 points. The spread is -21 OSU. Who do you got?
Nah, I got Oklahoma State.
You got Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I do as well. I think Spencer Sanders. The only way Oklahoma State makes a step up than they did last year, which was an amazing year, is if Spencer Sanders takes another step up. He's improved every year. He has turnover issues and completion issues, but I got to go for the hometown crowd here as well with OSU and kind of cheer them on. I'm not sure they cover, but maybe the over under 60 points, and I could potentially see that happening. I'm not going to lock that in yet. I'll give my spread picks at the end, but that might be one of the over under picks that I look into. Only 60 points I think is pretty low for that game, especially since OSU lost a bunch of their defensive players last year. Next game, I think sneakily might be one of the best games of the weekend. If not, it'll be close. Penn State at Purdue.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of biased on this one. Purdue's always been one of those teams that can upset you real quick. I just don't know if James Franklin has what he's had in the past.
What about
What's
Sean
the
Clifford? I mean, Sean Clifford
yeah,
is a dark horse for the Heisman everybody's talking about.
yeah. I mean, I'm still going to go with Penn State, I believe, in this one.
Yeah, Penn State is favored. Sorry, I didn't put the line on that. Penn State right now is favored at 3.5 points. It's a lot closer. It's at Purdue. I'm with you. Purdue usually does get a couple sneaky wins throughout the year, but it's not usually till mid or late year. Usually at the Iowa game and Penn State, they don't usually play this early. I think Sean Clifford takes another step forward as well. I picked Penn State as well. But that 3.5, that's a tough one as well too. I'm not sure on that. But that should be another pretty good game too, I think. And then to finish the Thursday games that we have here, because we do have 5 straight days of college football. Then probably the marquee game of the night, maybe another marquee game of the weekend.
West Virginia at Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. I just don't know what West Virginia's going to have. I mean, not West Virginia. Pitt's going to have, man. They lost a lot. Well, you look at their top 2 offensive stars last year between Kenny Pickett and
Yep.
who was the wide receiver left? Yeah, the wide receiver AJ Addison, I think it was.
That sounds familiar. I don't know the
I think it's Addison last name.
Yeah.
Whether I don't know if Pitt's gonna be able to build off of that success. Is it at West Virginia or Pitt?
That's what I'm double checking. At Heinz Field, 7:00 game, so it'll be a Thursday night. The rivalry of West Virginia Pitt, the backyard brawls or whatever they call it. I know our boy JJ is pretty excited about it. I talked to him a little bit this week. Both teams look good. I think Pitt is skilled at every other position besides quarterback. And of course, quarterback can make a huge difference. West Virginia has JT Daniels, if you remember him from Georgia.
Yep.
Dude was a stud. Stetson Bennett just kind of took over that team. And I don't know if Slovis from USC, I think his name is the transfer for Pitt. Do they take a step forward? I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead, and the spread right now is Pitt is 7.5 point favorites. Once again, I'm going for the favorites with Pitt. I think it's going to be a field goal, though. I think it's going to be a last drive type deal, last minute field goal. And you know how hard it is to kick field goals in Heinz Field, so it might even go to OT.
I want to go on a limb. I'm picking West Virginia.
Picking West Virginia. This is one of the ones that I struggled with for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of JT Daniels. Huge fan, but at every single other position, Pitt seems to be better. They did lose their offensive coordinator, so there's that as well. And this one I think might be a trap game for me, but I'm sticking Pitt. You're going West Virginia. So to cover the first 3 games where we both picked Oklahoma State, both picked Penn State, and then we differ at West Virginia and Pitt. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry if you hear my dog in the background, he's squeaking a toy. Sorry for the viewers at home there. Um, I don't have any games on the Friday night slate in our pick'em here this week. There really wasn't any good ones. I think ODU, Virginia Tech, the era of Pry, that one might be a little good. That might be a good one. ODU's already beaten Tech once, so we'll see. TCU, Colorado, I kind of wanted to put on here as well, but I think I'm too overhyped on Colorado and probably would have picked them, even though I don't think that will be the actual winner. So we skipped all of the Friday night games. It does look like a decent slate, not as good as Thursday night, but we should have some good ones there. We'll go ahead and start on the Saturday games. And of course, we have to start with the noon kickoff at East Carolina when NC State travels up to East Carolina. NC State is currently favored at 11 points right now. This is a game that you've talked about for a while, and I know you know the history of Raleigh, so I'll let you speak on that as well. But it might be a trap game for old Devin Leary and the boys.
I don't think it's going to be a trap game. It's whether or not Leary is going to be as focused as he was last year. The only problem with this that I have is at ECU, they have Holton Ahlers coming back. They have a good offense. They have a good defense. I like Mike Houston, but the problem here with me is NC State has been way too freaking hyped all summer long. And I think, honestly, it's going to be less than 11 points. I think it's going to come down to a field goal or it's going to be a touchdown. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah,
taking NC State. This one was another one that kind of really scared me. I'm going to take NC State, but I don't think it's going to be less than 11. I can tell you that.
this is one of the ones that I don't want to say scares me, but my dark horse was Devin Leary for the Heisman, or one of my dark horses. And this is the game he has to show out. Can he build on he had an efficient year last year. He had what 38
35 touchdowns.
and what five interceptions, three
Five
interceptions.
interceptions, but you got to remember too, we lost to Mecca Mezzi on the outside, who was pretty much like a Kelvin Harmon or Brian Underwood, explosive go-to
But
guy.
right. One thing that does travel is defense. Being a Steeler fan my whole life, I've seen it. NC State defense, I think, might be the best in the ACC minus Clemson's defensive line. So I have them covering. I actually have them beating them by 14. But I could see it as well. It is a scary game for a fan. I'm sure our Uncle Mark and Libby and you are uh all a little bit worried
Oh,
about
well, they're
this
going to the
game.
freaking game.
Yeah, just we'll have
I
to
know, I know. Uncle Mark's
boots on the
probably going to
ground.
watch this, but hopefully he'll bring us some luck in Dowdy Ficklin. I think he said last time he went, they got their asses kicked, and he said he was never going to step foot back in there. But of course, what his daughter wants, she gets. So
I mean, it
I
was
don't
it
know.
was a
Go
good time
go
whenever I
pack.
went down for the game. So I know those two are diehard fans. So we'll have boots on the grounds. Maybe we'll have a report next week from one of them on depending on the outcome of the game, we might have have one of them come on and share some insight there. But yeah, we're both in agreement on that one as well. The next one I have is Cincinnati at Arkansas. Arkansas is favored right now at 6 points.
I'm going Arkansas.
I'm going Arkansas as well. This is one of the SEC picks that I was kind of worried about. I have them going on a down year compared to last year, but they returned a lot of starters. They have Jefferson still at quarterback, who's a stud. But their schedule might be the hardest in the NCAA. So I don't know if they're going to overlook Cincinnati with all that they've lost with Sauce Gardner gone. The quarterback who now plays for Atlanta, what's his name? Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter.
I don't know if Fickle has the recruits right now to replenish and reload. He might surprise us with somebody, but I think Arkansas wins that game, especially at Arkansas with all the hype they've been getting. I just hope the hype doesn't. This is one of those games as well that is the hype too much and kind of overlooking a non-power five team right now. So another quick one here. I know we're speeding through some of these, but we have some pretty good ones on the back end. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Right now, there's no line on it because this game is on Monday night. I threw this one in there because I wanted to get your thoughts on Georgia Tech as a whole. And do you think DJ Uiagalelei is gonna um, have a resurgence year, or is it something where it's just gonna be a defensive showing?
All right, look, I've got Clemson winning this one big. I like Georgia Tech's coach. I just don't think I think the ACC is just overpowering him. It's hard to compete as far as getting recruits when you have the Miamis, the Clemsons, even the Florida States, the long-time programs. And Paul Johnson, I mean, they haven't been good since Paul Johnson, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think it's Jeff Collins as a coach. I like him. I mean, I want him
yeah.
to do good. I just don't think he's getting the recruits that he needs in that area. I've got Clemson winning this pretty big, but my question is going to be DJ. How long is Dabo going to put him on a leash?
What's the
How
leash?
short is that leash?
Right.
How is that leash going to be? I mean, you got Cave Kublik, who's a 5-star, and they talk like he's been chomping at the bit at camp on his heels. But I think if DJ is going to get 3 series, and if he doesn't produce, I think he's coming out.
You really that quick?
I think so. I mean, Dabo is going to want to see
Right.
what they got. I mean,
What the
why are
kids
they going to
got? Yeah.
waste? Yeah, why are they going to waste another season and not, be in the college playoff, get money for their program? I mean, you can't. I mean, he had all of last year to get right. You know what I'm
If
saying?
if DJ goes out and they start the freshman from here on out, does that take them out of the national title contender, even if they go, say, 10-2, 11-1?
Who knows? The kid could be like the next Trevor Lawrence. Look what Trevor did when he first came there.
That's true. That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
I haven't seen a lot of film on him, so I can't say. But I'm telling you, DJ, I think he's going to have a short leash. If I was Dabo, I
Yeah.
would too. You had all of last year. You got you got a new offensive coordinator calling the plays this year with Tony Elliott going to Virginia. The defense, I think the defense will still be pretty good. I mean, even
Best
though they
defensive
lost,
line in college football.
yeah, the defense is going to be solid.
Yeah.
I just my eyes are going to be on the quarterback battle. How long is Dabo going to let him run?
Yeah. I agree. I think he'll let him go for at least a half. If he's not producing by half, if they're not up by 20 points by half, I think regardless, unless it's a very, very close game, whether they're DJ's performing well or not, I think the freshman comes in at least in the fourth quarter. Um, Georgia Tech's problem, they went away from the triple option, man. That was their bread and butter. They were one of the only teams who still did it, and they went away with it with the new coach a couple years back. And I don't know if they have the recruiting power to make that a pro style offense. Like it's one of those things where they were good. They were a solid, 5 to 8 win team almost every year with the triple option. They weren't always like the best, but like they at least
They
competed
played you
in.
tough.
Yeah, it was a solid defense. I mean, Megatron came out of there, so like I guess they produced receivers as well. So like um I do have Clemson winning big as well, but I mean Georgia Tech in the past too has looked good too. So I don't that's a problem with all the week 1 games here too. We don't know until we see them this weekend. Like we know what Nebraska is now. Their offense is going to be amazing. Their defense is trash except for Buford. Buford seems to be legit at safety. Um, and what's his name? Was it Thompson? Casey Thompson?
Casey Thompson.
He looked pretty good, and then Scott Frost decided, he wanted to screw it up with the onside kick being up at 11. But it's one of those things like we won't know until we see these first couple games, and of these first couple games, who's going to be looked over, who's gonna kind of take the game seriously if it is a lower opponent. So no, we're both in agreement there. Clemson, there's no line there, but I almost would take them at almost any line. That defense is they're comparing it to the Clemson defense
I'd
when
be
they won the
almost
national
willing to.
title. So
I'd be almost willing to take them at 38 points.
I would say 24 maybe, but 38.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to be a break. If DJ's on it, it's going to be a breakout. But what DJ do you get? Like we said, that's
Right,
the question.
right, right. A next one, a team that played Duquesne last week, Pittsburgh
Uh,
school. We have Florida State at LSU, the era of Brian Kelly. Thank goodness he is away from Notre Dame.
Go
Um,
Tigers.
with his southern accent that he miraculously came up with at the pep rally, and um, their quarterback last year is now retired because he wasn't the starter anymore. LSU has their own litany of issues there. Florida State lost to Jacksonville State last year. I would be to go so far last year that Dion Sanders' team at Jackson State could have beaten them. Is Florida State back before we get into the pick? The line at before we go any further, before I forget, the line is LSU -3. So the experts have it as a close pick,
Dude,
but
what?
does is Florida State back?
No. I think they'll be in more of a contention in the ACC, but they're not beating the SEC school. Norville has
Even
been
with
there.
everybody that LSU
No,
lost.
no. I'm telling you, LSU will find a way to win this game, and it will be more than 3 freaking points.
Okay, so you would take LSU and the points. I think I'm with you as well. Brian Kelly doesn't usually lose his first couple games. He's known for a solid offense. Doesn't matter who's on the offense. Tight ends will always be solid. They have a couple good tight ends returning. They lost a couple receivers, but they have like a freshman quarterback and a transfer that I'm not sure which one is starting, but they've been battling
There's
it
going to be
out.
growing pain. There's going to be growing pains at LSU, but I don't see Florida State. Dude, Bobby Bowden's been gone.
Yeah.
Jimbo was mediocre. He won championship. Them days are over. I just until Norville puts together 2 or 3 9 to 10 win seasons, I'm not going to say they're back.
If you were Florida State, at what point do you give Dion Sanders a boatload of money to be the head coach?
It'll be after this year, dude. That alumni is not going to put up with mediocre seasons.
Especially after those 2 seasons that Dion's had turning Jackson State around. I
Yeah, and
agree.
he's getting
I
the
don't know
recruits.
why they didn't. Well, yeah, he got the number one defensive back and number one receiver last year.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why Florida State did not give him any money that he wanted, anything, all the resources he wanted. He has the name. He's, in my opinion, Dion Sanders is the greatest athlete of all time. Name another one who's ran a kickoff return for a touchdown and a home run in the same week.
I
Maybe
mean,
Bo Jackson,
Bo Jackson.
but I still think Dion Sanders is a way better athlete than Bo Jackson. Um, so I mean, like he has the name, he has the skill, is highly regarded as one of the best defensive backs in NFL history. He has the alumni recruits. He has the backing of Barstool Sports because he still works for Barstool, can get
Well,
NIL
I
money
can tell
from
you what,
them.
if he was at FSU, whatever he wanted, he would
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they didn't hire them. So you think it's a 1 year thing?
get.
I it depends on what their record is this year. If they don't
No,
compete
I'm
for the
telling you,
conference championship, then
even
I
if
think
they
you're
go
right.
if they go 5-6, let's say they go 5-7, or let's say they go 7-5.
Yeah.
I don't see Norville staying. They've been there 2-3 seasons now.
I think
I
this is a
think
second.
yeah. Oh, it is.
It's second or third, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's going to be some talks. Trust me. I can tell you, if they don't put it together this year, they're not going to be patient. There's
Yeah.
no way.
No, I'm with you. I like I said, Florida State has such a history. I don't know why you don't hire that coach. I think anything less than 9 wins, the coach gets fired. Even at 9 wins, I think he gets fired. Because that's not going to win you the division title in the ACC. I'm with you with LSU. As much as I hate Brian Kelly, I think he'll give you an average wins. He'll give you 9 wins. That's the other thing. I don't think LSU is going to stand for the 8-win, 9-win season. So I'm wondering how long Brian Kelly has there. I'm not sure they'll get there this year. I do think they beat Florida State here in this first game. All right. The next game on the block, another good one for Saturday night. These next three No, we'll do the 3:30 game next. The
Yeah,
3:30 game on Saturday.
this one's been messing me up all day.
Yep, me too. Oregon at Georgia. Oregon is sneaky good, I think, but they're a Pac-12 team. Georgia lost 15 starters, I want to say.
A
And majority of
lot.
that defense. But Kirby Smart is recruiting like crazy. I mean, he's getting recruits. Stetson Beck Benton. Oof. Stetson Bet I can't say his name. The quarterback's back. Bowers, the
Stetson
tight
Bennett,
end. Yes, Stetson Bennett is back. The Bowers, the tight end, who's the freshman monster, he's
dude.
back.
Have you heard? He talk like that dude is beefed up
He's
this
amazing. He
summer.
was
Like he
amazing
is
last year. He
huge.
was massive last year. I don't know why. Like, if he didn't lose any speed and he got
Could you
bigger,
imagine being in a high school trying to do shit?
yeah, he's a sophomore and he was a huge freshman last year and he
Oh yeah,
crushed.
he was. Oh my god.
So I think Georgia right now is favored by 17 points. I think that 17 is too high. I have Georgia winning, but I have them winning less than 15. I think it's going to be closer. I think the quarterback, he's a game manager. He's not going to win the game for you, but I think they have enough. I think they have enough athletes around them that defense will drop down some, but not a lot. I think Georgia wins.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bet against Georgia on this one. I mean, it kind of messed with me a little bit because Georgia's defensive coordinator is now the head coach at Oregon
Oh, yeah.
from the national championship team. So, what kind of defense are you going to get from Georgia? I mean, I know Kirby Smart was a defensive coach anyway.
Yeah.
So I got I'm going to pick Georgia on this one. I'm really interested to see how Georgia bounces back from all the losses to the draft.
Yep.
Uh, but I really like Kirby Smart, man.
I do too.
I think he's going. I think he's going to get his group together good. And
He's one of those coaches that have kind of flown under the radar in the SEC. You have Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher getting at each other every single offseason, and Kirby Smart's just, okay, I'm going to put up 11, 12 win seasons without saying a word.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to take Georgia. I don't think it's. I think Oregon's going to fight with them in the first half, but I think Georgia at the half is going to pull it together and they're going to pull away.
Yeah, I think Georgia pulls away in the third quarter, and then they take out some of their starters, and Oregon makes a little bit of comeback to cover. I think it's around 11 or 12, but I could be wrong. I mean, who knows at this point? And if is it a quick enough or is it a long enough turnaround that head coach can implement his defense and the style of play with the athletes from Oregon? Can Oregon come back as well? Like, they have the Nike sponsorships. Like, they should be a decent program every year. And then at
Oh
what
yeah.
point do they join the Big Ten? But that's
Well, if they
another
offered me
story.
a full ride, I'd go. Think of some cool jerseys.
Heck yeah. Every single game. I'm curious to see what jerseys they come up with as well. Okay. The next game is one that I think is going to be closer than people think. It is only a 3-point spread as well. A lot of these week one games are closer spreads than we would like. But hey, here at First and Faloney, we're picking the tight games. We're gonna pick our records against the experts and not be scared away or not shy away from the tough games like game day seems to sometimes. We have Utah at Florida. So Utah is going into the humid swamp this
Yeah.
weekend in Gainesville. They're favored by 3 points, or it was three. I think the line has been moving between 2.5 and 3 points. A lot of the experts are saying that Florida is going to be should be a field goal favorite because it is at home. But as of right now, Utah's favored by 3. What do you got on this one?
Utah didn't really lose a whole lot last year. I know their quarterback got hurt in the Rose Bowl, but the backup came in and played pretty darn well. I mean, he kept them in the game against Ohio State. But I guess my question to you is, what did they lose a whole lot? Is what I guess what I'm getting at.
I don't think they lost a lot. They lost their best defensive player at middle linebacker to the NFL. Their Utah's problem is I believe they were 1-3 in non-Pac-12 games last year, and they finished 10-4 in the season. So they don't play well outside their conference. I'm very high on them this year. I had them in the top 6, I think, finishing. Um, I think they've shown last year that they can play both games, whether it's a shootout with Ohio State in the Rose Bowl or a tight defensive game like majority of their existence has been. The question
Well,
I have,
doesn't Florida have a new coach this year?
the Billy Napier, there's
Yeah.
a new coach. They lost a lot of recruits. They had a transfer quarterback from Ohio State, but he got hurt. And then Anthony Richardson, as of right now, he's a projected borderline first, second, third round pick as a quarterback. In my opinion, I didn't see that last year. He's a scrambler. He's a big guy. He has a cannon for an arm, but his decision making isn't there. So
All right.
the question for this game, it's a coin flip for me, but the question for this game is, can Richardson improve? Is he going to lead this offense with the recruits that they've lost, the players that they lost on defense because they lost their starting cornerbacks? And do they have enough receiving power to handle the Richardson throws? That's the question. I have Utah winning.
Yeah. Mike Penny's
but
really gonna hate me. I'm gonna pick Utah on this one.
yeah,
My
it's
my
close.
my
Florida's whole
how is
season depends on Anthony Richardson. Their
I know,
whole
but
season depends on Anthony
how
Richardson.
does Utah handle the humidity
Right.
in Florida?
Right. And that's one thing I didn't take into account. And I just thought of that. Right. It's how do they handle that humidity? Can they keep up with Florida? And which Anthony Richardson are we going to get? Is it going to be
Yeah.
the Heisman hopeful of last year at the beginning of the year, or is it going to be the kid who threw and missed an open touchdown in the end zone versus Kentucky?
Nah, what is Utah ranked?
5.
Oh wow. And they only got them winning by
They only have them winning by 3.
I
This
kinda
is
wanna
why it's like
I kind of want to be that guy and flip because something's telling me.
Someone's telling me too all week. There's been something in my mind that Anthony Richardson is going to turn it on for Florida. Anthony Richardson's going to turn it on for Florida, but I cannot trust him. Like I've watched several games last year, with Elise, and like I cannot trust Anthony Richardson.
Man, I don't know if I should flip on this or not. That's a tough one.
He didn't play the full season last year because they had that senior quarterback. So
Yeah.
he's not even a full-time starter. He did get hurt a little bit. The dude's a stud. His best is definitely top 3 in the Heisman when he's at his best, but he's not always at his best.
SEC, Pac-12.
That's another thing too. SEC inherently has better players. I just think Utah overall as a team is better.
I'll take Utah. I'll take Utah, but I think it's definitely going. I'll take. Nah,
Papa
you already beat me
Tebow
by
will be
one game.
Papa Tebow will be mad at you.
Nah, ain't nobody worried about him. I know you want to flip.
I do.
All right, I'll take Florida. You keep.
It's the safe bet is to pick Utah.
All right, I'll take Florida for the upset. Mike Penny better buy me a case of beer if I win this game.
Mike Penny, if Florida is good, my man, you have yourself a quarterback.
All right,
and I like
Florida. If the spread's 3, give me Florida.
The spread's 3.
Chalk it up.
I can check it right now again, but let me double check it just to see if it's moved any. It's at Florida. It's at 7:00, so the humidity might not be there.
Oh God. Give me Florida.
Yeah. I'm pulling
night game in the swamp. That's a tough environment.
Yeah. Right now,
give me Florida.
Right now, the matchup predictor has Florida winning has at a 52.1% to 47.9 at Utah. There's no where's the spread at? The spread is -3 still. Money line is you can get Florida at +118. Over under is 51. I think the over under might hit. I think the over will hit.
I'm gonna parlay this game.
I wouldn't touch this game on betting Sanford unless I'm gonna hit the over because I don't know who's gonna win. I don't. And if it does rain,
we'll change mine to Florida.
You got Florida? Are you sure?
I'll take Florida. I took the upset last week and I lost.
I think you might be right, man. I think you do. I think you are because
All right, well, get
I
over
think.
it. Let's move on to the next one. Stop
All
trying to
right.
change your mind.
The last game of the night is where game day is going to be. It is
Yeah,
Notre Dame at Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by
this will
17
be a
and a half
blowout.
points. So you
Give them
think they'll?
24.
Oh, you think Ohio State? I think
Oh
Ohio State
yeah,
as well.
I
But
don't think Freeman. I don't think Freeman. You give Freeman another year, I think he'll be okay. I think Notre Dame's ranked really a little too high for me.
I can agree with that.
They will play. They will play good in the first quarter, and then I think C.J. Stroud is going to hit that wide receiver he loves so much. I can't think of his name. I can't
Uh,
even pronounce it, to be honest with you, but
Smith
he's
and
good.
Jigma. Smith
Yes,
and Jigma. Yeah.
I can tell you right now, if them two are hooking up, it's lights out. Ryan Day, he
I
ain't no idiot.
I think you're right. I think it'll be a close game at halftime, be a one-score game at halftime, and then I think Ohio State will win it by 10. I don't think 17.
No, I'm
Um,
taking that.
17 and a half is where the line's at now. That's the last game of the season. We do only have a few minutes left of the Zoom call, so we both picked Ohio State to win that. Some picks that I think that are gonna hit for the spread. I think Oklahoma State game, I would bet the over of 60. I will take also I'm gonna pick NC State.
You're crazy.
I'm gonna pick NC State minus 11, so they'll have to win by at least 11 for that to hit.
I hope they do.
I'm going to take um ooh, which one else do I want to take? I'll take the over on the Notre Dame Ohio State game at 58. And then one more. I don't like these
Do
spreads.
the
Um
crap. What was the one game we were so indecisive about? Not the Florida game, the one before them.
I'll take Penn State. I'll take Penn State minus 3.5 as well to win it by more than 3.5 points. So those are my four picks for the spread. We'll see how well I do this year. Unfortunately, Florida doesn't have mobile sports betting yet, so I won't be able to bet those. But those are the ones that I would have bet besides money line on the rest of them. But that's our time for today. This is First and Faloney week 1. We do have potential song coming, new entrance song coming in the future here. More big things to come. We do have some guests lined up for the future games as well, future weeks as well. Shout out to the fan of the week and Colton Van Gorder. Big props to my man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing and everything else that you do. Any last words before we get out of here, Coop?
I'm just happy it's back. It's gonna be a hard time trying to keep up with all these scores on the Dove field, but I'm gonna manage.
Yeah, yep. I will keep you updated via text as well. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next week.
All right, catch you later.